Before we go any further, let's welcome on our guest, Cory Fandel, Closing with Cory.
Let's go, baby!
What's going on?
What's going on, man?
What's
Oh,
up?
man,
What's going on?
Tate, come here, you.
Tate,
Tate, chill out. I got your bone.
you coming along the ride for this one?
All right, set up your mic. Set up the mic. You know what to do.
Yeah, you know I do.
You got the same mic. Did you get it?
I did, yeah.
How's it treating
Oh,
you?
sick.
Awesome.
I think having like this in front of you automatically makes you feel like you know what you're doing.
You're like, yeah, I know.
Like,
I
you throw
can't
this
even
in
lie.
there,
When we
it's like,
first sat down for this podcast, I was like, with the lights, the cameras, and then this mic just caps it off.
yeah, it's a different vibe, and it's crazy too for the people that like just have never used a microphone before. Where I'm sure like they're probably out to hear.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, the audio's
they
always
don't
fucked
even realize
sometimes.
it. This is good right here though, as far as like.
Oh yeah,
We're all good.
Oh,
Good?
sounds all good over there, Ben.
Well, Cory, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, man. I'm
Yeah.
glad you guys invited me on here.
10th episode.
10th episode.
10th episode?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
10th
yeah,
episode.
yeah, dude.
So obviously you guys are just recording a lot more and then just putting them
Dropping
out.
Yeah.
one a week.
So this will
Yeah.
probably come out in a few weeks.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
I've seen, I think like, obviously like a lot of people watching podcasts, I watch it or I listen to it in the car. So I haven't seen too many as far as like visual wise, but I listen to as many as I can before I have to like hop into an appointment or something like that.
That's awesome. Now we know people are listening.
Yeah. So for those who don't know Cory, he's a successful real estate agent, but it always wasn't that way.
No.
Always it wasn't that way.
No,
Cory
no.
came up and had a ton of different hustles.
Yeah.
Where did you start? Where did you start figuring out that you wanted to be like an entrepreneur?
I think my very first job, I was 12 years old. I worked at Delicious Pizza actually.
Hey, 9.4 on Barstool.
Yeah. And I mean, it was an awesome experience. Like I just learning like that work side of things and being able to like get money was cool and all. But like I just something always like attracted me to like to that work. My father owned a construction company, so like from like a young age, I was always like doing construction. So I have like hospitality wise and then like manual labor, all these things that I was like learning a little bit about. And I think just over time I started to look at work a little bit differently from like the peers and stuff like that were around me. You know what I mean? Like I was doing certain things that just not everybody else was doing. And I worked at Circuit City, was like my first like I guess like I don't want to say corporate job, but like job like where I was in like a different environment, not with like my dad, like a pizzeria. And I think I just was able to just my work ethic just was a little bit different from the people that I was working around,
Yeah.
And I think from there that's just where I was like, all right, I look at work differently, and like that just kind of stuck with me throughout all the different things that I started to do.
Before you got it, I was telling everyone that you had a studio.
I did.
And you used to engineer. Shout out DJ City.
Studio 18.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir. I was telling him about the hustle.
DJ City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the goal at one time. I mean, it was so much. I don't regret any of that. It was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
so much fun.
And you learn a lot too.
Oh yeah, so much. And like I always loved music. My dad was a DJ. I had like Technique 1200 turntables from like a young age, just messing around with stuff. And then I started getting into like writing like hip hop songs, and then like I started recording it and just just fine tuning certain things and just learning so much about it. And then I started just taking it to the next level, the next level, the next level. It was cool.
And then you started doing weddings.
Yeah. So
Big wedding DJ.
yeah, and that was even like a different time frame to where I stopped doing like pursuing my career being like a famous hip hop artist,
Yeah.
and then I was like I got to be a little bit more realistic, and I was able to join a company who they do Elite Sound Entertainment. I mean they do like 500 plus weddings a year, and it was cool. I started out as like doing like production, like the lights and everything, because club DJ is completely different from a wedding DJ. I'm sure obviously you guys know hands down. And I was going into it being more of a club DJ and a bar DJ, and I was like, I know what I could do. I mean, this is a no-brainer. And then like I saw like the first guy like that I worked with, I was like, oh wow, I'm like yeah, I have no idea how to DJ a wedding. I was like, I gotta get some practice in this.
100%. And then from there, I remember you're in the wedding space, you're hustling, and you're like, I think you hit me up and you're like, yo, I think I want to do a video, I want to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
What made that, like what sparked that idea, like what fueled that?
So, funny enough, the first the first wedding that I was a part of, it was a guy by the name of JG. And I went into that and he humbled me so much with the idea of like what I thought I knew what I was doing and like how I can do certain things. and just to see the way that he was DJing, it was just absolutely like insane on his crowd work, on everything just was like perfect to a T. And I wound up developing a good relationship with him over the course of me working there. And he started in real estate. So he got into, he lives in South Jersey, so he got into real estate, and we were doing a wedding together one time. And he was like, hey, listen, I think that you would be great in real estate. And I was like, I think maybe, I guess so. Like, I could try it out. And then I started asking him more questions about it, and the next thing you know, I was like, you know what, let me just go to the school, let me get my license, let me get this kind of started. And then it just kind of just took off from there. But he was like the one that just said, he's like, I think that you would be a good fit with it. And I took his advice and I went with it, really.
Do any, before we get any deeper, it's a tradition on our show to chug a water.
All
right,
let's do it. Is there anything in this water?
Yeah.
Is there any type of like truth serum in here or anything like
that? Yeah. But we should start getting that. Cheers.
Cheers. There we go.
So,
I can spit my mint in this thing too.
when you were going to like become a real estate agent,
yeah.
How was like that process for you? Like you had to get licensed, and like how was that process for you? Was there parts in that process that you might have been doubting it or thinking twice?
So when I started getting serious with work, one of the main reasons, because at the time I had a daughter, and it was one of those things where like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to where I was like, all right, I need to, and not that DJing is not like a real job, because people can make awesome amounts of money, you know, in that space. I just looked at it as, you know, I was looking more into the future where I was like, I have to get something solid to provide and all these different things. And yeah, it was scary because the people at the time that I was looking at when I started doing my research on like, let me like look at what real estate agents are doing and like what type of people I'm going to be either working with or, you know, competing agencies. Yeah. They were all from, and nothing against age, but they were from like 45 to like 105. And I'm like, damn, I'm like this young guy who is just coming off of like DJing weddings, like, you know, in the hip hop, in all these things. I was like, I don't fit with this crowd like whatsoever. So that was like the one thing to where I was like, I just didn't want to try to like alter just who I was to be able to cater to this job field. And like that was like, and that was me from the outside, like looking in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not like really being in it yet, and just taking it from like a visual as far as who was doing it and how I compared to them. So outside of that, like I knew that it was going to be stuff that I was going to have to learn and like I was going to have to experience along the way. But I do well in that sense of you know, I learn and I adapt pretty quickly, which is a good thing.
Do you think any? I'm sorry about that.
You're good.
Do you think any of the skills transferred from like wedding DJ to like real estate agent, or like?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, just being able to communicate with people is like one of the biggest things that I was able to take from that space and bring it over. And I think like when I was DJing, you know, there was DJs, there was MCs, and then there was DJ MCs. I was fortunately a DJ MC to where I could also play the music, and I can also MC the party as well too. So I think more so than anything, like that MC quality transferred over, because like when you MC, you need to be a little over the top with it, and you want to add as much energy as possible. So I don't go into like an appointment like with like my MC voice, but like I know how to like keep, you know, how to show energy a little bit better in like what I'm saying and how a conversation goes, and like and all these things that did kind of transfer over to when I was having conversation with people, you know, in real estate for sure.
And it's crazy because I feel like we started working together kind of the beginning of both of our kind of careers. When I first started like media X marketing, I think you were super. I still have the video. You were like super young. You came to my apartment. We did the video. We gotta put that somewhere. That'd be funny to yourself. But it's crazy to see how much you've grown. What do you like attribute to that success and like growing so fast?
I would probably go back to just like the work ethic thing. It was just one of those things. Like I still remember that too. That was where I think we did my first headshots there.
Yeah.
Where it was just I looked so young from like I have like this folder where it's like from 2016 to
I have it all.
I flipped through as far as like the transformation, but I think it was just like my work ethic, and it was like the idea, I think, to what you said before as far as like, you know, being nervous or anything. at one point I had to like put it in my head that there really wasn't an option B. Because anytime like that's in my head, it's like, all right, well I can always go back to DJing. And that's kind of what I did for the first maybe about 2 years. I was transferring and I was doing less weddings and I was trying to get more time invested into real estate. But my overall goal was to just full force go into real estate. So I know that it was going to take time, and which it obviously it did take time. But it was just my consistency in knowing that the end goal was to just hopefully be as successful as I could be in real estate.
Yeah. How many walkthroughs do you think
We've shot together?
Yeah.
Oh,
How many videos do you think in total we've shot together?
a lot. Yeah. I actually, funny enough, before I came here, I was looking through because I had to put the 10 things to do before the winter.
Yeah.
So I was putting that up on an ad, and I think we had like over 30 something or 40 something, and that wasn't property videos. That was just like video like you can hear like doing shit. So.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that you wanted to do more than just property walkthrough videos?
I think from when I noticed like the feedback I was getting from some of those videos, and like I was doing videos before we were doing like the professional videos like with you guys, and I was getting nowhere near like the engagement or people like reaching out and stuff. Like I had people reaching out that were probably like, wow, like these videos suck. I feel like just tell them that these are looking like pretty decent, and like looking back on it, I think the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Like, what the hell was I even thinking? Like I deleted all those videos off of YouTube, but I think once I saw like the feedback I was getting to where people were really interacting with it, and then when I was going into more like sales presentations with people that didn't know me or people that I wasn't directly referred to, they were like always going back to my videos like, oh, I saw your one video that you did for this property or that property, and people were like excited to have their home featured as one of those videos, and I was like, damn, I'm like, if I'm getting that feedback from this on the selling side, then I'm sure I can get feedback from the buying side or the investing side or people that are, looking in 5 years. Like I can start just incorporating so much different, information in these videos to be able to, put out to people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I say that about us, like when we put out content, like I feel like it shows that you're not just hiring the person because like the skills that they're really good at. It's like also just the person they are, you want to be around them.
For sure.
It definitely shows in the work you do too.
And I feel like even like for you guys, right? Like I'm sure, I'll just use like the wedding thing as an example because we're talking about it. But if you guys didn't do such great wedding videos for couples, I guarantee you that your next year of bookings would not be as much as it was from the previous year. You know what I'm saying? So like that passion to it and wanting to make sure that you guys are delivering like the best product that you can deliver is what's going to really pay dividends in like the following years, and people being like, you got to watch this video, sharing the video, doing all these things, so quality was a huge thing that I realized that I was like, I need to focus a lot more on the quality of it. Obviously the content and like what I'm saying is going to be important, but if I'm in like a very unprofessional environment and like people do do stuff on their phones, which I'm all for. But there's a different level when you're doing something like professional with like people that know what they're doing, how to edit, what angle to get, how to do the lighting, all this stuff. It's like, okay, like this looks legit.
And we've done more than just even just like buyer seller videos. You started doing like the brand videos. You remember the video we did with Tiff and she was pregnant?
Yeah. Because that was cool because I started realizing that I wanted to not be just so much like, oh, like this is like, I want to be the real estate guy, but I also want people to like know me a little bit more than that. Like when I get into like these appointments, and now everybody brings up the kids and the girls and like all like my wife, all these things. So like people see me more as like a person rather than just like, like this like talking head, you know what I mean? It's like, it makes the conversations a lot easier and more authentic and more like genuine when I'm talking to these people, instead of like, oh, like here's what the market is doing today. And like, here's this, like a lot of the times, like the first 10, 15 minutes is just people talking about my kids, me showing them pictures of them, me showing them how much of, pains in my ass they are and stuff. And just like those types of like funny conversations. And then it gets into all the other stuff.
That's hilarious.
And I feel like that's what kind of separates you from like other real estate agents too. Because I feel like everyone online is like super stiff. They don't really want to show their personality. But when you show your personality, I feel like people, they're more comfortable.
Yeah, I feel like it's shown. It only benefits. Like I said, like I feel like people don't just want to be with someone for what they're good at, but just who they are as well. Because
Yeah.
I could go to like whether it's like a doctor and they're a great doctor, but like if you don't feel like you're at home, you're dealing with someone who genuinely cares about you.
Oh, for sure.
You're not gonna want to be around them or be there as much.
Yeah, and I feel like for some people too, you know, people that get into the video aspect of things, I think that they're doing it because they see everybody else is doing it. And I think that if they were to do it consistently and if they continue to kind of like work at it, then it'll be able to really show like their personality a little bit. Like for me, when we started doing videos here and like I would write out the script, I think like the first maybe like 2 or 3 videos I got here, and I was reading through the script and like then I watched like the video after you guys edited it. I'm like, man, I feel like I was stiff. And I was like, I'm not feeling comfortable with it. And then after that, I was like, instead of me bringing a script to like read off of, let me like at least know what I want to say and then have it in my head and then say it 50 times before I get here and then just just talk to the camera. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think like people, if they are consistent with it and they keep doing it, maybe they'll loosen up a little bit. But yeah, I see a lot of people that are a little bit stiff as how I was when I was watching my early stuff back.
It's tough. It could either be like whether it's your first time in front of the camera, or it could just be like kind of the lack of preparation, like knowing what you want to say, because there's times where we do stuff with people and it's like they're talking about their company, but they don't even know what to say properly. You would think they didn't even work for the company.
Yeah.
So it's really about like, even though you know your stuff, just going over it with yourself again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I feel like you're like one of the most prepared clients that we have. You're always in and out, ready to rock.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I if there's anything, I respect people's time. Obviously, I know you guys are on a time crunch when it comes down to, you know, you got a next client coming in, you got this coming in, that coming in. So I always try to be respectful of that and try to come and be like, all right, I want to know what I'm doing, know what I'm going to say, know how I want to say it, and then get it out of here and let you guys do the hard part, editing it and making me hopefully look halfway decent.
So does it ever feel like work to you? Because I know you said like you've been working since a young age. You were kind of on your own path. Like, is it fun all the time or?
No, I think with anything, like if your job is gonna be a job, at times. Like, I mean, I'm sure for you guys this is awesome, but I'm sure there's times too where you're like, I don't feel like driving.
I say it all the time. There's no real like perfect job. There's gonna be things a part of a job that aren't going to be your favorite.
For sure.
But it's understanding that will allow you to enjoy more days than not.
Yeah, no, and I think the times like where I look at it where it's like this feels like a job, I just look at it to where it's like, all right, I know that this will benefit me, in a couple of months or a couple of weeks, or if I'm trying to like learn the ins and outs of a certain market, it's like, all right, well now I'm adding some type of knowledge to me. I'm going to be able to utilize this in another conversation in 2 months and 2 weeks or whatever the case is. But yeah, there's always times, and it's always tedious to learn what's going on. And like in my job field, it's like things change every hour, and you have to unfortunately be as like on the clock as possible. So it's like, work never really stops. It's just a matter of trying to balance it out with everything else that's going on.
Mm-hmm. How do you balance everything? Because you have 4 kids.
I'm still
all girls, by the way, too.
Yeah, it's something that going into next year, I'm a lot more just kind of like I know that I need to do a better job. I think halfway through this past year is when like I realized I was like, man, I need to change things up a little bit, just because it just flew by and like so quick. Like there were so many things. I feel like almost like 2.5 years flew by just because I was just constantly working. And with something like this, I'm sure like for clients, for you guys as well too, like if you don't set the times that you're going to actually be working, and if you don't set the schedule that you want for yourself, then the people will kind of make that schedule for you. So the second that you answer a text message at 8 o'clock in the morning, hey, guess what? Like you're starting to work at 8 o'clock in the morning now. And the second that you answer one at 6:30 in the morning, it's like, oh shit, okay, he's working at 6:30 now, so I can text him whenever I want. If you answer a call at 10 o'clock at night and so forth. So I realized it when I was not being as present in like these last like 2.5 years of my life, where I was like, man, shit flew by. I need to just do a better job at just when I'm home. We got a 9-month-old now, and just enjoying that and just trying to be as present as possible for all that stuff. I know that there's going to need to come a time to where I just shut everything down and just enjoy some family time.
Yeah.
So What's like a night with you and the family?
Chaotic. just honestly, just chaos. It just, I try to, my new thing is that I try to, and it's not every day. And like, I'm learning as I go as far as what works, what doesn't work. But I know that when all the girls are with us, I try to at least get done around dinner time. My wife and I, our new thing is like, we found this website. It's Eat Well 101. It's these recipes that are just absolutely like phenomenal, healthy stuff, easy stuff, 30 minutes. So we try cooking, we try enjoying like a little bit of time together, and the kids go off and just wreak havoc throughout the house for a little bit. And then it's just, bath times, showers, saying to get in bed 37,000 times. And my new thing is that I've been deleting actually social media off my phone around like 9 p.m., 8:30, 9 p.m.
Oh, wow.
So like that urge to check something like isn't there, like, and I realized like I can silence it, and like I started doing like the time limits to where whatever, but like it's my phone. I can just say add 15 minutes, add 15 minutes. Like it's not like, because our kids are on time restraints to where if they want more time, they have to ask me for more time.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I know my own code. So I'm like, oh, I want to check for 15 more minutes. I could check. So I realized like if I delete it off, and you'd be surprised like on how many times like I'll still pull out my phone and like go to where like my social media is, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, it's time. Like let me not even like look at that, and just trying to be more present with that. And then I'm a big on just like prepping for the next day. So I'll have a list of like the couple of things like that I need to get done for sure. I try to set the morning up as easy as possible between lunches, getting coffee ready, getting that ready, so I can wake up and just get into my motion for the day.
Do you have a morning routine?
I do.
Tell us about it.
Normally I'm getting up anywhere from like 6 to 6:30, and then I try to do 5 minutes of meditation. Sometimes it's 2 minutes. Sometimes I use like that Calm app, which I feel like everybody has. And like the good thing is like you can do 2 minutes, you can do a minute. I just realized that I need to do something to just like bring me in for a second and like not thinking about last night or what's going on, whatever. I'll normally like have like my coffee. I just started doing like some journaling, just because, listen, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I've been in therapy for like the last like 8 years on and off, but it's just something just to help out with shit. So I learned that was just something good, just to get like some of my thoughts and stuff like off of my head, so I can think about other stuff and onto paper, and like almost like, all right, put it away, like don't have to think about it right now. And then just whatever the day is going to bring me, whether it's going to be bringing the kids to school and then getting to work, or just getting right to work, getting to appointments, and doing what I need to do.
Yeah, the mental health stuff. Like I say it all the time. Like having someone to talk to. Like I always worked by myself.
Yeah.
Most of my career.
Okay.
But then like coming here, working with someone else that's going through the same stuff with you, or just like being. Like a lot of people can be like closed off, or like when you're always working, it's easy to just be like, I don't even want to dive into my feelings right now.
Right, yeah.
I just want to just stay on this grinding mindset. But it's important to really like open up, whether it's the family, friends, whoever you feel comfortable around.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And like for me, I mean, I could relate to that so much, because work for me is one of those things to where it's like, all right, like I'm working, and all I'm thinking about right now is work. So like I don't need to think about any of my issues, any of my problems, anything that's going on, like work. And then my thing is like when I do try to shut it down, like at night, like then my head's like, oh, okay, now you're not working right now, so let me just flood you with all these things that you weren't thinking about. And like then it's like, all right, so I need some type of balance there, because I was like, I can't be just having all these thoughts like, coming at like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I think that's what drove me for a good portion of my life to just keep working until 11, 12, and basically until I fell asleep, because I was like, let me just keep doing whatever I have to do until I fall asleep, just so I don't have to start, let my mind go and thinking and stuff.
Have you ever burnt out?
Oh, yeah.
What do you do to cope with it?
I mean, this past year was probably the first time like what I felt like actual burnt out was, to where like I couldn't even have like a conversation, whether it was about real estate, whether it was about anything. Like I just felt like I was like, all right, I literally don't have anything left to give, like whatsoever. And I just had to just give myself, some time off, and not in like a vacation sense or anything like that. Just changing up like that normal habit of all right, wake up, do my morning routine, and just go right into working and making my phone calls and doing this. It's like, all right, let me go. I go to the gym. I try to go to the gym 6 times a week. I try to do these things, but I was like, I need another outlet, and I just started to just spend some more time doing things like that I wanted to do, whether it was the gym, whether it was just going someplace, like whether it was like going to the mall. Like I didn't go to the mall for like 8 years. I was like, let me just go out and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me go out and like do shit and just and that's the thing too. Like it wasn't anything that needed to be like drastically done. I mean, there's times like when I'm stressed as shit and just a night of dinner with like the family or going out like with like my wife or something for dinner is like, all right, that's all I needed. Like just to like give myself like a little bit of like a break just so I can, feel, rejuvenated. And like now, like I refilled the tank a little bit. So I got some more to give now,
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, this last year though, I'm sure even for you guys too, like working. And then and everything else that's going on. And it's just like, at some point it's like, yeah, this is gonna,
I need to chill out.
Yeah. You know?
Because you're never just doing your job. Like it's a bunch of different things in life. And even here, like we're not just filming, we're not just editing. You gotta talk to clients on your good days, your bad days.
And that's a good point too, because you guys in the wedding force, and I know that you guys do more than just weddings, but I'm saying like, as far as like, and even in general though, really, because like I'm sure when people come in, even if you guys are having a shitty day, like you don't want to like give off that you're having a shitty day, and especially on a wedding, you're not about to be like walking around like look at this, look at the videographer over here,
just upset,
he's just moping around.
He's over there crying in the corner, and it's like no, like you have to be, like you said, you got to be on at all times, like, and that's how it is in my field as well too, to where people that I'm working with are the ones like that are telling me about their problems in the sense of like what's going on, whether it's with the transaction or whether it's going on like, oh, this just happened or that just happened. So I'm the one that's getting like, and rightfully so, because it's my job, but it's like they don't want to like hear about my issues. Like they're like, oh yeah, oh, you didn't get a lot of sleep last night? I don't give a shit. Like I'm worried about this, this thing that happened at inspections or whatever the case is. So it's a lot of that, just trying to be on as much as possible and not try to discredit and put that off of yourself too much, and always like remember to check into yourself every once in a while.
When you're having an off day and like you're sitting in the car before you might go do a walkthrough with a couple, is there something that you think of that kind of flips the switch for you, that you're able to not just like put on a fake face, because it's not what we do, like you are still genuinely being who you are?
No, of course. I forget what book it was, but I saw something, I think we were in the same book, this Secret Shifters. Was that the one book? I remember I posted a book. You're like, oh, I just read that. Regardless, whatever the book was, one of the things like that I picked up was that it was like to have like a video roll or like a picture roll of like things that'll just automatically like shift your mood, and like whether it's a song that you go to or whether it's like whatever. And for me, it's like the family stuff. So I'll watch like some funny videos of like the kids or like stuff that we all did and everything, and it'll definitely like perk my mood up a little bit to go in and be like, all right, like I can, I'm not even like faking it. I'll be in a better mood. It's just like I wasn't in this mood 15 seconds ago. So
definitely,
you always need to have a motive. You always need to know why. When people ask me like, or if I'm trying to sell something or like try to get a customer, I need to know who I'm selling for, whether it be your family, your team. Like there's more than just you riding on this. It's everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Definitely.
That's why I got this tattooed. They're counting on me.
Oh, look at that.
We're counting on them.
Dude, I like it. Yeah. And I mean, for you though, too, like, I obviously I met you through Joey, but even like you were saying before, you were starting something and like you had that vision, you know what I mean? And like I think we did connect on that, because I was just starting a new journey. You were starting a journey, and it's like, all right, it's like there's not really a plan B, or there's really not something else that I can kind of like fall back on a little bit. So let me just, go as hard as I need to go right now.
Yeah, put it all on black.
When I remember when I was like not first doing video, but I was also working at this bar, and I remember I'd always be like, this is my last shift, I'm not taking this shit anymore.
Yeah.
And then I'd go out, get like 2 gigs that'd carry me like maybe a week,
right?
And I'd be right back, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not even gonna say anything. Time, everything's just gonna work out. I'm gonna be able to do this full time. And I remember starting here, and just in time, I never would have thought we'd been sitting here right now doing what we're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Feels like a lot.
And yeah, and we've grown, even since like, because Thomas, I think, is coming up on a year.
Oh wow.
I'd say a little over a year right now.
Nice.
Yeah, a little over a year.
Yeah, and we've grown. You've seen like growth. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, first thing Joe told me, well, not the first day, because I did a job for Joe before we even started. I didn't even know Joe. The first time I met him, like, this dude was on the run. He was like, give me the footage. All right, here's your check. All right, get out of here. I remember texting Firm. I was like, yeah, he's cool. I was like, this dude's on the go right now. And then, like, you get to know the person. But I just remember he was like, I'm going to take care of those who just work.
Yeah.
Do what you do and continue to grow. And I was like, that's all you need to say.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to continue to do that.
For
Remember
sure.
the first gig I got shooting? The person said this. They didn't say it, but I applied for the position. 6 months later, they reached back and were like, hey, you still want it? They're like, yeah, we were just waiting around to see if you were going to grow and what you were doing. I was like,
wow.
That was like, all right, I need to just
Yeah.
continue to do what I do all times if I love this.
Right. No, for sure.
What would you say to someone who's like scared to make that jump, whether it be to like chase their passions or like make that jump?
You know, like realistically, the worst thing is not even about like the failing aspect, because, you know, not to sound corny, but obviously you can learn from whatever you do that's wrong, whatever. I'm sure there's been a lot of things that you learn. I'm sure there's been a lot of things like that you learn. I think for me, it was just, you know, just having that confidence, kind of like what you said, as far as one way or another, it's going to work out. And like the last thing that you want to do is like 20 years down the road, be like, I wonder if this would have happened if I would have tried to do this. Like that would, to me, that's something like that I get scared about, to where it's like, I never want to be a grandfather and doing something and like sitting there thinking like, damn, like I wonder if I would have did this, if things would have been, you know, things would have been different. Like that what if type of thing can drive a lot of people crazy. So it's like you don't, in order to eliminate that possibility, it's like just do whatever it is that you're, you know, that you have a passion to do. Like if your gut is driving you, a lot of the times I try to listen to my gut and not my head, because you know, your gut is always like kind of like knowing what you really want to do. Your head is the one that's telling you kind of like what's more probably logical, you know. So I think just not wanting to get to a point to where you have to ever think, you know, what if I would have tried this or something.
Definitely.
Yeah. We want to hop into rapid fire?
Might have to.
We're going to have to. All right, so we do a segment on our show. We're going to hit you with some rapid fire questions.
All right. Should I, before we do this, should I get my bottle of water just so I can hydrate up?
Oh, hydrate up. Hydrate up, dude.
Cut this out, Ben.
Cut this out, Ben. All right. You got to go first.
I'll go the first one.
All right.
What's your favorite thing to watch, or favorite movie?
I'm still on, to be honest with you, I'm still on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air probably every night. Kings of Queens, depending on how I'm feeling. My wife's got me on a ton of just junk TV, like Love Island and just all that type of stuff, which I will say I'm completely addicted to now. So a majority of whatever my wife's watching, and then mix with some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Your personal favorite real estate agent right now?
My favorite agent? I'd probably say... I hope Benny doesn't get mad at this. But I've always shouted him out, but Jay, the guy who has been like, he was my mentor. He's still my mentor, really, in my eyes. But the guy who got me into real estate, he's just an absolute monster, man. Just watching him is just so inspiring to be like, all right, I gotta do more. No, anytime I think that I'm doing good, I'll go and I'll talk with him. I'm like, I ain't doing shit. I'm like, I gotta keep doing more.
Favorite pair of shoes?
Probably say the ones that I got on right
Those
now.
Are clean. Those are real clean.
Least favorite thing to do with your kids?
Jeez.
Oh man, that list can easily go on.
That's a clippable.
Least favorite thing to do with my kids. Oh my goodness. There's just so many that I had to try to think about.
What's the worst?
You knew the same thing that you just did with the JT video, where you asked him the question and chose his initial reaction.
He said,
"Freeze frame, got him."
Yeah, no, and honestly, like my wife will probably agree. There's just so many things. Obviously, we love our kids, but they're annoying as shit sometimes with certain things. I'll tell you what. Coming off of, I took the kids to Turks and we took the kids to Turks and Caicos, and I would say vacationing with them was my least favorite thing, because had this thing planned out for God knows how long, don't even want to know how much money the whole thing cost. And after we were supposed to be there for 6 days, after 3 days, all they wanted to do was just sit in the rooms, not do anything. And we wound up leaving a day early because of how annoying they were being. Yeah. And then my stepdaughter Aria said, I can't wait to get home so I can have real food like McDonald's. I don't think I've talked to her since then.
You play golf?
I try to play golf, yeah.
There was no follow-up question.
Well,
what's your favorite drive?
We shot the thing for his mom at the Trump National.
At Trump, yeah.
Yeah,
we
for
did.
the Barcelona Foundation.
We shouted them out
again. We already shouted them out before we got here.
We did the 5K run.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, we did the 5K run video
did
too. That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm trying. You know, I'm still really, really bad. There was a time where I think like I had like 3 good rounds in a row, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm getting the hang of this. And then like my next like 10 were absolutely terrible.
Let us know in the comments if you want these MXM golf shirts.
Check it out.
It's a Callaway.
That's what it is?
Yeah, I went to a golf outing for our networking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Look at him.
I was a snazzy.
And then all podcast members get one, and Ron get one. So
Dude, we might be
Joe.
getting merch soon.
Tate's knocked.
He is knocked out.
Thank God.
What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
My younger self, I would probably say that to stop chasing perfection. I'm a very much a perfectionist type of person, and over time you realize that nothing's going to be perfect. There's always going to be some stuff that's going on, and I think over time, like people get lost on when something is good, because it's like, oh no, it's got to be great, and like then if it's great, it's got to be perfect, and all these things. But I would say to not chase the idea of a perfect, whether it's work or if it's a perfect relationship, if it's a perfect fatherhood, stepfatherhood, and all those things, is just to not chase that idea of what I've put in my head on what the perfect scenario would be.
Is there a dream piece of content that like you hope to create in the future, like a video that you've always been thinking about?
I really like I forget what the guy's name is, but I've watched a couple of his videos where he does like those like really crazy mansion tours and stuff. I feel like doing something like that, but like adding a different element to it, and like kind of like doing it with people and interacting. Because I mean, it's cool how he does it, but it's just basically like an extended version of like a home walkthrough. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think like doing something like that, but just adding different elements like to those crazy mansions would be something pretty cool. I mean, I love the whole podcast idea. I think that I'm even gonna do something on a much smaller, easier scale as far as like market updates and like stuff like that, and like just things that are going to be relatable for like buyers and sellers and stuff. But I mean, content, as you guys obviously know, changes by the minute. So doing something like that would be like a little bit like a bigger production, to where instead of like the 2 of you guys, maybe about the 4 of you guys will come out and do something. But
that would be
I'm sure hopefully we'll do something soon for
one
sure.
It will happen, and we'll clip that.
Yeah.
And what's one piece of advice you would give your older self, or what's one thing you would tell yourself in the future?
These are good questions. I would say my older self, maybe like just like to slow down and just to be more present, be more in the moment, be more like, and even like little things like just like breakfast with like the kids and stuff, and like the morning stuff. Like I can't tell you how many times you forget about those things just because your mind's not even there. I'm sure like I'm thinking about work, I'm thinking about when I got to leave for this, but just slow things down, and just that'll happen whenever it happens. If I'm a little bit late, I'm a little bit late. It is what it is. But just trying to be more present and just enjoy more things as I'm doing them, instead of like looking back and be like, holy shit, I forgot that happened. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I do that.
Definitely. Got anything else?
You give us a quote to that camera right there.
A quote. A personal quote, or
any quote you want to give people.
And where can the people find you?
Any quote.
Give us where you can find us first.
Yeah.
You can find me on social media, Closing with Cory, Facebook, Closing with Cory. Everything is basically Closing with Cory, closingwithcory.com. YouTube Closing with Cory. So anything that you're looking for as far as my content and my social media and just all that stuff, anything Closing with Cory is where you'll be able to find me. As far as quote wise, I think I'll go off of what we just kind of talked about. I don't want to turn this into anything else that it doesn't need to be, but mental health stuff, all that, it'll play a big role if you surround yourself with the people that are going to be like-minded and want to have similar goals and to just enjoy that present moment as much as possible, because so many good memories I feel like I just forgot about. And if I was just there and I was present in that moment, I would have a lot more of those memories to be able to look back on and smile.
Oh, clip that.
Clip that.
Clip
All
it.
right, guys. Cory Fandel, everyone. Closing with Cory.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.